Oh, hello. Welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Traitor Space Marines, aka the Compendium Chaos Space Marine kill team. So on the first slide here, you can see sort of Mrs. Tabletop Impulse's Chaos Space Marines. I think she's a much better painter than I am, and I'm going to try and feature more of her stuff on the channel as well. But that was her first kill team when we first got the Compendium. She played Heretic Astartes, took them to the first tournament at Warhammer World. She did okay with them. So I've got a little bit of thoughts from her to put into the video, and I know a little bit about what I'm talking about with this one. So let's get to it. So the Traitor Space Marines have got two fire teams to choose from. There's the Chaos Space Marines and the Chaos Cultists. So you've got two options at high level in terms of build. You can either take double Chaos Space Marines, so that's 6 Chaos Space Marines, or you can take Chaos Space Marines with Chaos Cultists, that's 3 Chaos Space Marines and 8 Chaos Cultists. You can't double up on Cultists, so you must take at least one Space Marine fire team. Personally speaking, Mrs. Tabletop Impulse concurs, 6 Chaos Space Marines is much better. I can't see why you'd ever want to take the cultists. Not really. It doesn't appeal to me. But let's go through both of the 5 teams in detail. Before I move on, I just want to point out one of my favourite things I always try and point out. So the Chaos Space Marine 5 team has choice of every deck of secondaries as well. So they have the security deck, which really important. Okay, so you're always going to have your full choice of all the decks. So you'll take security, right? Okay, moving on. So the Chaos Space Marine fire team itself. So you get 3 operatives: warrior, gunner, heavy gunner, icon bearer, and then if you haven't got a leader, you can take an aspiring champion. So if you're taking one fire team, you have to choose between your gunner and your heavy gunner. If you take 2 fire teams, you can have the gunner and the heavy gunner. So what this means in practice is if you're taking 6 Chaos Space Marines, you're going to have your aspiring champion, your gunner, your heavy gunner, your icon bearer, and 2 guys with bolters. If you're taking only 1 fire team, then you're going to take your aspiring champion and your icon bearer, and either a gunner or a heavy gunner, depending on what you fancy. So let's look at some of the options. For your gunner, you've got the choice of Plasma Melter or Flamer. The Flamer is 100% not worth it. So a lot of people have said Flamers are absolutely terrible in kill team. I mean, that's not the whole truth. For armies like Novitiates or Sisters of Silence, where you have the option of taking a Flamer and on someone that would otherwise be taking a bolter, then maybe think about it. Certainly for Novitiates, where it's a Flamer versus maybe an auto gun, you can think about it. When people say Flamers are awful in kill team, they're talking about this exact situation here, where the opportunity cost is that you're losing out on a plasma gun or a melter gun. The Flamer is simply not on par with those things. In 40k, you'd pay less points for the Flamer, but in kill team, there are no points. You're just taking one of the 3, so you're not going to take the Flamer. It is the weaker option every day of the week. The Plasma and the Melter, I think you're taking the Plasma gun against 99% of the time, really. I mean, that's a slight exaggeration, but you're mainly going to want to take the Plasma gun. Everybody kind of has talked about and knows how good Plasma guns are. You've got that advantage that you've got the infinite range because you're a standard gun, unlike the Melter gun, which is limited to a range of red. So you've got the unlimited range, 5-6 damage, AP2 when you overcharge, hitting on 3-4 shots. Compared with the Melter gun is doing an extra point of damage regularly, so its base damage is 6. When it crits, it is going to do 7 damage, so an extra point of damage again, and 4 of those are going to come in the form of mortal wounds. And it has AP2, it doesn't have Get Hot, but to get all that, you have to trade and get that range, which is usually not worth it. The only circumstance I'd really consider the Melter gun, if you're playing against Custodes maybe, and you really just wanted to try and stack mortal wounds on them, then you might consider the Melter gun. But even then, most Compendium Talons players now are taking at least taking 5 Sisters of Silence and a couple of Custodes. So maybe then I'd want the Plasma Gun, because I'm going to get more Plasma Gun shots off over the course of the game, probably, the Melter Gun, because I'm going to have to get the Melter Gun into position. It's easier for my opponent to play around. Plasma Gun's awesome, which everybody watching this probably knows, but there's a quick little recap there. And for your heavy weapon, you've got the Heavy Bolter versus the Missile Launcher. So again, 99 times out of 100, I'm taking the Heavy Bolter. Heavy Bolters are really good. 5 dice, hitting on 3s, 4/5 damage. Yes, it has heavy. Fusillade, which is the one where you can split your dice onto different models, which I think you almost never use. And AP1 on a crit, which with 5 dice, you're hopefully going to roll a 6. Yeah, it's a really solid weapon. And plus, the Chaos Space Marines have got, just like the Loyalist Marines, have got ways of buffing bolt weapons as well. So, really consider the Heavy Bolter. The Missile Launcher, on the other hand, you know, you've got your Frag, which has Blast. So, if you're playing against a really, really hardy team, maybe you want to consider Blast, but it's only 3/5 damage. All the other way, you've got Crack, where you can go up to 5/7, but you're only getting 4 shots. It is AP1 even when it doesn't crit, but I can't see it. As far as I can see, the majority of the time you're taking the Heavy Bolter, 99 times out of 100. And the Aspiring Champion has some choices as well. So, Bolt Gun, Bolt Pistol, Plasma Pistol, always the Plasma Pistol, right? There's no question about that. Power Weapon versus Power Fist. Power Weapon, 5 dice hitting on 2s, 4/6 damage, lethal 5 up. You're going to hit on 2s rather than 3s with the Power Weapon, so you're going to get more hits, you're going to get more damage overall in combat, you're going to get more crits with the lethal 5 up. The only time I'm going to see the Power Fist has that 5/7, so if you're playing into Novitiates or someone else where the majority of the opponent has 7 wounds, then the Power Fist can be quite nice, because you can charge into combat, get your 1 hit, and kill them, one-shot them, right? And then they don't hit you back, because most combats in Kill Team, the charger hits, gets hit, and then hits a second time and kills their opponent. This way, at least with the Power Fist, with that crit, if you're playing into those 7-wound teams, you can just about one-shot them. But chances are you'll have chip damaged, maybe anyway. The Power Weapon's only 1 damage less. I think, again, it's the Power Weapon. If you're going to just build one and not have a sideboard, it's the Power Weapon 9 times out of 10. Maybe the Fist into 7-wound teams. We'll look at the Cultists. So I've said before, I don't like Chaos Cultists. I don't think they're worth taking. A lot of people, at first, when sort of people were playing looking at the Compendium, hadn't really played many games, and going, oh, let's theory craft. They thought, oh, well, it's good to have loads of bodies. Bodies are good. You know, the sort of decent bodies like you'd see in Novitiates or Wormblade or Pathfinders, when you're getting these 10, 11, 12 model teams. People talk a lot about how Veteran Guardsmen are good, because they can have up to 14 models. It is good, but Chaos Cultists aren't those teams. They just aren't that good. They just don't really do anything. You get both gunners, so that's nice. You get a Heavy Stubber, which is not actually a bad weapon. 5 dice hitting on 4s, 3/4 damage. Has Ceaseless, so it can do some re-rolling when it misses. That's good. You know, that's not a bad weapon. A Flamer, so this is an example when you would take the Flamer, because the opportunity cost is only an auto gun or auto pistol. So yeah, why not? I'll take the Flamer. There is a little trick you can do with your Flamer Cultist that I'll talk about later when I get onto the Ploys, which you can try. The opportunity cost overall of taking, you could be taking another 3 Space Marines, and the Space Marines could be bringing a heavy or special weapon that you couldn't otherwise bring. I'd rather have the 3 Space Marines, even though two of the Space Marines that have bolters. Yeah, I'd probably give the regular Cultists auto guns, or auto runs, as I've helpfully written on the slide, right? So we can just, if I grab my pen, we can just happily change this into a G. There we go, auto guns, there we are. And we'll take the auto guns, okay? Because you're taking the whole objectives. Although, again, this is one of those things where people thinking about the game versus playing the game, it doesn't really hold up. At most, in Kill Team, you're having one guy hanging back on an objective, not really interacting with the game, who's just kind of stood on the objective, but it's only one model, right? So what are you doing with your 8? You're taking these Chaos Cultists to free up one Marine, but you could take 3 Marines and leave one Bolter Marine back in your home base, standing on your kind of home objective, and he's going to do more use than an autogun guy because he's still got his infinite range bolter. He's still going to take the odd pot shots. It's faulty logic if you ask me. You're never taking the Chaos Cultist champion simply because you've got to take 1 unit of Marines. If you're taking 3 Marines plus Cultists, then your 3 Marines, you've got your choice of a heavy or special weapon. You can't take both. You've then got the choice of taking an icon and a leader or 2 normal guys. You're obviously going to take the Chaos Space Marine leader over the normal guys because the aspiring champion adds so much more over a regular Chaos Space Marine compared to what the Cultist champion brings over a regular Cultist, which is, you know, a damage 2-3 brutal assault weapon. No, in fact, the regular Cultist has that, so it's an extra point of ballistic skill, isn't it? That's it. And the potential of having a shotgun. Whoa. Shotgun. No, I don't rate them. No. So, Cultists if you want them, but I don't think you'd ever take them. If you think I'm wrong, and Chaos Cultists definitely have a place, leave me a comment, okay? I'm aware they've got the strike from within tactical ploy. I will talk about that when I get to the tactical ploys, but even with that, I still think they're kind of pointless. Equipment. I really rate the Chaos Space Marine equipment. And this is where we're going to talk a little bit at the end about why they're so much better than tactical Imperial Space Marines. But their equipment, they basically have 2 really big builds they can do. I really like stacking everything on the aspiring champion. Okay, so you take your Grizzly Trophy, which is down here. Okay, so this operative gains the following ability for the battle. Grizzly Trophy. While this operative is visible and within blue of an enemy operative, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of ranged and melee weapons that enemy operative is equipped with. So they're going to have 1 less attack on you. Good. You got your Sacrificial Dagger. So once per turning point, when the operative incapacitates enemy operative, you can regain up to 4 lost wounds. Really, really good. Okay. And then you can take Dark Blessing as well to get an extra attack with your weapons attacks characteristic, and then you can make Sergeant Face Punch and just run around having probably the best close combat character in Kill Team, okay, charging into basically anything, doesn't matter if they're a close combat specialist of your opponents, and obliterating them, getting your wounds back, not letting them attack you, okay. I think it's really cool. The other thing you can do, now, it will say, if you go down that route, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you've spent 9 of your equipment points, and then you've got 1 equipment point that you're unable to spend because they have nothing worth 1 equipment point, which I suppose is something that's going to upset you, but I still think it's really fun. You know, you can go the other way and you can buff your heavy bolter. So Suspenser System, which is a really good piece of war gear, which basically means that you look at the heavy rule, and instead of meaning that you can't move and shoot, it just means that you can't move more than 3 circle in the same activation that you shoot. So you can't get, as long as you don't have any kind of shenanigans, you can't do a move and a dash and a shoot with your 3 APL, right? But you can then move and shoot. So if you're taking heavy bolter, the Suspenser System is really worthwhile. I would want to take it. Maybe you take that instead of taking Grizzly Trophy if you're looking for a middle ground. Okay. Belt feed's pretty good as well. 3 EP on a heavy bolter to take belt feed, and it gives you ceaseless, which gives you some rerolls. That's good. You've also got the option of taking malefic rounds on your heavy bolter, which would give it AP1. So it's gonna have AP1 all the time, not when it crits, but in fact all the time, which is pretty good. Don't know if you need to take malefic rounds. If you're taking the belt feed, it's going to give you the rerolls. You're very likely to get that 1 crit every single time you shoot it, but if you really want to nail it on, you've got the option. In reality, you're probably going to find your mix between these 2 approaches, right, and have a somewhat buffed heavy bolter and a somewhat buffed sergeant, but those are kind of the 2 main builds. I think the equipment's really good. I think the equipment is one of the things that makes these really stand apart from Imperial Space Marines. You know, if you think about the Tactical Squad 5 team, the Tactical Squad 5 team is really good. It's one of the best ways to play Compendium Imperial Space Marines, but they have to share their equipment list with so much stuff that doesn't interact with them because it is for one of the Primaris fire teams, right? So it's for the Cursors or someone else. So they don't have as many options. Whereas Chaos Marines have all these options, which makes them a much better team in my opinion. They also have an extra wound, which I didn't mention on their page, and it's a kind of a bit of a meme. I'm pretty sure it's someone on the kill team, dev team, poking fun at 40k players, because famously in 40k, Imperial Space Marines now have 2 wounds, and Chaos Space Marines are stuck with 1, but in kill team, the Chaos Space Marines have 1 extra wound than their Imperial counterparts. It makes them better, but it only makes them extremely marginally better when you think about how much damage things typically do and the wound thresholds. It's a very rare scenario that that's going to make any kind of a difference. But I think between the equipment and I guess that extra wound, Chaos Space Marines are just better than Imperial Space Marines every day of the week. If you think I'm wrong, leave me a comment. And I don't think they're so much better that Tactical Marines are trash. I think if you like Imperial Space Marines and you want to play them, then 6 Tactical Marines are probably the best way to play that. But Chaos Space Marines are better. Ploys. So, strategic ploys, tactical ploys, they're all really, really good, except perhaps for one. But what I like about them is that they're not particularly complex, they don't require a lot of setup, and, you know, the occasions to use them are not going to be few and far between. Let's run through them one at a time. You've got your strategic ploys, so you've got malicious volleys. At the end of a turning point, each time a friendly heretic starter operative is activated, if it doesn't perform a fight action, it can perform 2 shoot actions. If a bolt weapon is selected for each of these shooting attacks, so just like Imperial Space Marines, you can spend that every single turn to double up on your bolt weapons. Works on your heavy bolter as well, which is another reason to never take the missile launcher, right? And you can shoot your 2 bolters and your heavy bolter twice. Great, good. Hateful Assault, it's the same thing, but for close combat. If you're going to get into combat and you're going to want to fight twice, it's going to be less useful because most of the things you're going to fight, you're going to kill. But it's there when you want it, and you'll be able to see, yeah, I'm going to want that, this turning point, so you're going to activate it. Let the Galaxy Burn, which is also really fun, until the end of the turning point. When you activate, once during the activation, in the roll attack dice step of your shooting attack, if you're targeting the closest valid target, then you could hit on 5s. You can crit on 5s. If you're already critting on 5s, you can crit on 4s, which is quite fun. In combat with your power weapon, if you really want to kill something, you want to crit on 4s, you can turn that on as well. Why not? Okay. Really, really good. A little bit win more, maybe, but really, really good. Tactical ploys. 2 of these are great. One of them is kind of funny. So, Veteran of the Long War. Use it in a friendly heretic started activation. After it fights in combat or makes a shooting attack, if you didn't manage to do any wounds to your target, then you can repeat the combat or shooting attack. So if you're totally fluff your rolls, you can just spend 1 command point to have a do-over. Really nice, yeah. If it comes up, really nice. If it doesn't come up, you don't mind, because it means you didn't have a combat or a shooting attack where you totally fluffed your rolls. Really nice, just have a do-over ploy. I'll come back to Strike from Within. Warp Infused. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly heretic starter's operative is activated. Until the end of that operative's activation, you can ignore any modifiers to its action point limit, and it doesn't count as injured. Yeah, so if you've got someone on his last legs and you need them to act as if he was on full strength, then you can spend the command point to do that as well. Those 5 are all really solid. You know, they all only cost 1 point. They're all things that are not particularly like niche or edge case, and they're likely to come up every single game. I like them all. Strike from Within is a bit of the exception. So you can only use it on a Chaos Cultist. It lets you put a Chaos Cultist anywhere in the kill zone within black of heavy terrain and more than red from enemy operatives. I guess you do 2 wings of this, you put it on a flamer, and then you can run the flamer forward and flame a load of guys, and then the flamer probably dies. Or you can put it on somebody with grenades, you can run forward and throw your grenades, and then he probably dies. It's a bit funny, but I don't think it's worth the opportunity cost still of losing those 3 Chaos Space Marines. But it is something that's there, it's an option for you. Personally, if it was me, I would ignore it completely. Alright? Okay, final thoughts. I think they're another solid Compendium team. I realise I've said that so far after all my Compendium team kind of read-throughs. I guess I'm picking the ones I quite like the look of first, right? Those of you who follow this channel and watch every video, first of all, thank you. Will notice that there was no video on Friday. It was Mrs. Tabletop Impulse's birthday, so I was busy. So this Saturday, this is now the video that should have come up on Friday. And we'll try and get another video up tomorrow, and then we're back on schedule. Friday is usually a battle report, but again, because it was my wife's birthday, Zimbad couldn't come around, we couldn't play. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life at the moment. We're going to be moving house, so I will try and stick to my 3 videos a week schedule on the 3 days, right? On the Sunday, on the Wednesday, and on the Friday. But there will be a little bit of disruption to that. Those of you who've stuck with me so far, thank you. Please, if you like the video, like it. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It's one of these truisms of YouTube that there are people out there who watch every single video you upload, but they never press subscribe. Getting to that 1,000 subscribers mark is really, really important to a new channel. So if you can subscribe, if you're watching the videos on a regular basis anyway, it really helps me out, even though you might not derive any bonus from it. If you can see a way to doing that, that'll be great. There's a link down to Element Games in the description. If you buy things from Element Games, then I get a little bit back. This is not me being greedy. I've literally been asked this by somebody on my Discord. Oh, and I should say, please, there's a Discord, link in the description. It's a small little community at the moment. There's about 10, 11 of us on there. Please feel free to come along and join in there. It's a little quiet from time to time, but it hums along. So the Discord's an option for you. Somebody asked me on my Discord, can you sign up with some kind of link that I can help you out if I can buy stuff in America and get you a little bit of cash. So in the description as well, if I've sorted it out by the time I upload the video, which I hope to have done, you should find a link to Noble Night Games, which is a local gaming store in the USA. So if you're based over there, if you buy stuff over there, I will get a little bit back as well. Obviously, it's not a personal recommendation because I've never ordered stuff from there, although I have looked at them. They seem like quite an interesting little place in that they sell a lot of second-hand stuff and out-of-print stuff, so that's quite cool. So I'm getting that set up by request. If you are in America and you are buying stuff and you don't have a local gaming store to support, then sure, I would appreciate you using the link and supporting the channel in that way as well. Right, thank you everybody. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will hopefully see you again with a new video tomorrow. Cheerio.